music session we've got from the book start here.
Morning.
Morning.
Mike, how you doing?
Good morning. Morning, Mr. Piper.
What'd you say, Brian?
Good morning.
Morning, Brian. Nice letter. Nice tribute to Gary. Good job.
Thanks.
The only thing, did you use your, what is it? Can't think of it now. Photoshop? Because Gary looks the same as he did in '95.
Yeah. Little tweaking here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah, a while ago, a friend of mine wanted his head on top of a bodybuilder's head, so it was like, it was funny.
Yeah.
Came out good. Can do anything with Photoshop. That's why you can never trust a photo these days.
That's it.
You can hold up a blank sign and I could fill it in with anything I want and make it look real.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Mike.
Hey, guys, I'm not doing lathe work this morning. I'm making boxes with dovetail joints for Christmas presents for my kid.
Ooh,
One kid has designed a coffee maker that turns the coffee pour over, which is what the kids use now at a certain rate, has a built-in scale so that when it gets to the right amount of water versus the weight of coffee, it stops turning. And he has another device that pours the water in over the funnel and changes the radius of the pour to cover all the coffee. So this is like a geek celebration.
fancy.
That's what I'm working on.
Sounds more like one of those, was it Goldberg type
Oh,
thing?
Rube Goldberg.
It's a Rube granddaddy for sure.
Yeah. Here's my latest thing is working on a salt shaker.
Pretty
So,
nice.
Yeah, these table legs, I was wondering what to do with, so I chopped them up and make these little salt shakers out of them.
I've been helping Gabriel, who most of you probably know, the son of one of our members, who's making goblets for the seminary that he's in. And he's found somebody to make the gold or silver lining for it. Unlike when we use goblets in the Baptist church, they can be made out of anything. In the Catholic church, the lining has to be precious metal. So he's making one in hope that the guy will spin a piece of precious metal to fit. Not quite sure how that's going to work out, but it's interesting to watch the young man try.
Yeah. Yeah, he did. He called me the other day. He said, you got a recommendation from you or a suggestion from you. He's looking for a fountain pen kit he wanted to make for somebody for Christmas. But I only had 2 types and it didn't fit his needs.
I'm sorry, Dave.
You sent him over to me. He was looking for fountain pen kits. Oh, well. Whoa.
Oh, good morning, Pat.
Good morning.
Bless you.
Morning, Daniel.
So Pat, I started a fund to maybe if I do go to the McLaughlin coring
What?
system, I got some money saved up for it.
Well, that's good.
McNaughton.
McNaughton? McLaughlin? McNaughton? What?
Whatever.
So whatever. Coring system.
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Moron. So Dave, how do you like that gift guide I put in a newsletter?
That was pretty good. I see.
I was looking for weird stuff.
Yeah, the faceplate with the screws or whatever to adjust it.
Yeah.
That was unique. Unique.
It's cool, and that has a little the puck on the back, so you can just grab it with a chuck. So So that's it, made it interesting.
Yeah.
They fixed 2 windows this
What?
week.
Did what?
I fixed 2 windows.
Oh.
Good.
Morning, Jim.
Good morning.
I see all the usual suspects are here.
Yep.
Why would we give up a chance to see your glowing face this morning?
Gee, I don't know. I don't know. So, how is everybody this glorious morning?
Pretty
Good.
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 I'm gonna ask y'all to shout because my damn computer's still screwed up. Barely hear y'all. I emailed tech support and he finally emailed me back. And he said, "Oh, I need to set up an appointment, set up a time. I need a couple of hours with you to see if we can get the audio straightened out on your computer." And he hadn't replied to me. So, oh well. But so,
I'm doing all right, Ralph.
well, I'm glad to hear it.
Morning, Dave.
Morning, guys.
Oh man.
Is everybody enjoying the weather?
Great weather.
Good day to be indoors.
Hey, David. You sure have a lot of stockings back there to fill.
Yeah, unfortunately, they're going to be empty this year because
Oh,
of the COVID. The kids, we're not doing the big gathering.
yeah.
Give them all a lump of coal.
But we decorated anyway.
Oh boy, this is it. Looks like, huh? You got in that cup, David Piper?
So you got your new smock on. Nice.
Yeah, I decided to wear this today. The others were getting a little tight. I don't know what happened. I think the damn dryer is defective or something.
That's
Keeps shrinking all my clothes.
yep.
So
Oops. You're not supposed to be doing that.
Get that finger out of our face.
the hell you doing, Daniel? Who you pointing
My-
at?
Nobody. I was trying to unmute. One of my favorite shirts I accidentally shrunk.
I can't hear a word you're saying.
One of my favorite shirts I shrunk.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I hate it when that happens. So well, gee, I had planned last month to do this donut chuck thing. I figured I'd do it today. So, anybody want to see this?
Sure.
Sure.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, we can critique it for you so you can get prepared for a demo come what, March?
I guess. Oh, we can do another demo on donuts.
Yep.
Show you how to eat donuts. So yeah, I showed it to you guys the last time. My version of a donut chuck. This one's mounted on a faceplate. I don't have any extra faceplates right now, so I'm going to do a different version that just mounts with a mortise on your regular chuck. So
Couldn't you thread the one you've got? The one with the faceplate? Now you got a center, thread it for the your spine, thread it to 1 1/4 by 8.
you could. You'd probably have to use some hard wood. I made these out of plywood. And I had wanted to make some out of the plastic, the UM, what the UHM something, UHMP, whatever. Starboards is basically the same thing. The problem with starboard is I don't think you can glue it too successfully. I think it needs to be mechanically fastened or welded, and I don't have the capability to do that. I mean, the welding part of it. But anyway, so what I started out with was three plywood discs, two of them about a little over 9 inches in diameter. You can make them any size you want for different purposes, of course. You know, some guys use them for finishing the bottom of a bowl. So depending on the size of the bowl, you need a large one. You know, there's so many different ways to do bottoms of bowls. This is obviously a lot more secure than the cold jaws. You know, I bought cold jaws when I first started doing this, and I hardly ever use them because they're really a pain in the ass and they don't hold very well, which most people find out over time. And they got a $50 to $100 set of jaws that's just sitting on the shelf doing nothing. But the reason I actually wanted to make this was I'd seen some Chinese balls, which is a whole nother subject, which we may get into sometime next year. Requires special tools, which I'm looking into. I'll try and make some instead of buying them. Look at Sandy Claus there.
Ralph, can you hear me?
Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Prospero año y felicidad. Feliz Navidad.
Okay.
Ralph, can you hear me?
Barely. I can barely hear anybody.
But your comment about the cold jaws, I did the same thing. I bought them and I rarely use them. What I find works better is just a flat plate of wood covered with an 1/8 inch of Amazon rubber, and that little hole there lets me line things up, and I use it with the vacuum chuck, and it holds the bowls much better than the cold jaws ever did.
Oh yeah, the vacuum chuck definitely. You know, I've got a vacuum chuck also set up. You know, a lot of guys don't want to spend the money for the vacuum pump. You know, and there's also several ways to do the vacuum system with a vacuum pump. There's a company that makes a Venturi system that requires an air compressor, so you're running air through it the whole time. You know, yeah, they definitely, I think, hold a lot better than the cold jaws.
And it's the same diameter as my lathe, within 1/8 of an inch, whereas the cold jaws, you lose almost 2 inches in terms of diameter because of the outside grippers.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, we find out after spending the money on the cold jaws that they're really not that great. You know, but this donut chuck also, I don't know how many of you guys have seen what they call Chinese balls, where you have a ball within a ball within a ball, all hollow. And this is one way to hold it. There's another type of chuck that's made out of a PVC compression coupling that I'm going to make another one of those and do a thing on that too. There's, you know, several different things you can do with that. This particular one, you know, what kind of got me interested in it was the Chinese balls. And then also I saw some guys turning billiard balls, making boxes out of billiard balls and making other little things out of billiard balls. So, you know, what you'd have to do is make several, you know, depending on what you're doing, you need to make several different diameter, actually front plates with several different diameter holes in them, depending on what you want to do. This one that I made, haven't used it yet. Here's the back plate with the faceplate on it, and the front plate has just I think a 2 1/8, 2 1/4 inch hole in it, and then you can see that it's dished out. So, and the back plate's got a slight dish in it right here, so that you can put a round ball in there. And so that's now captured, and you can turn whatever you're going to do to it. If you're going to hollow it or if you're going to do some other stuff, which there's some videos of a guy did on making little pots, and he made some crazy forms out of billiard balls. So anyway, I don't know if we'll get into doing any of that. He got his billiard balls from yard sales, and I just went online and ordered some from Amazon. Got a whole set of brand new billiard balls for, I think they were $16. So you can experiment with them. So anyway, on to the making of this chuck. So I started with the 3 discs. This one's about 6.5, and the others are a little over 9. Like I said, you can make them any size up to the capacity of your lathe. So starting with a center point, I don't know if you can see that right there. You know, and your compass, draw it out, cut it out on the bandsaw, cut it out with a jigsaw, whatever you got. And then for this type with a mortise in it, or like Dave Piper said, you could put a hardwood block on there and take one of your taps and tap it out to match the thread on your spindle. So for this particular one, what I'm going to do is take this over to the drill press and take my Forstner bit and drill a hole in it. I don't know if you can see over there. Probably not. No. Anyway, when you're drilling that a hole that size on the drill press, make sure you clamp your work down because you're not going to be able to hold it with your hands. You might be able to get away with it, but then again, you might end up getting hurt. We don't want that. So. So we've got that drilled out. It wants to be about a quarter to somewhere between a quarter and 3/8 deep. You don't want it, obviously you don't want it to where the front of your jaws, want to hit the back. You don't want the back of this hitting the back of the jaws. So then what we'll do is we will take a small drill and drill a hole through the center. Okay. And then we'll take a drywall screw. Actually, what we'll do is we'll do that, and then we'll take some glue and We'll smear that around nice. Probably put a little more here and there. Gotta open it first. Okay, then we'll take our drywall screw, put it in the center. And then get that in the center hole of the other piece that you've used to mark your hole out. And we'll drill some holes around the perimeter out a ways. Put some more screws in. That'll clamp that all up. We'll get a new battery for the drill. That excess glue off. So now we take the center screw out. And we'll drill a hole, pilot hole, in our outer piece. Flip this over. And if you better to use a little bit shorter screws. These are the only ones I've got. So that they're just nubbin sticking through here. So you want to take this and put it in the center hole in the other one so that everything's centered up. And then we want to lock it in place, just offset somewhere, it doesn't matter where. Drill another hole. Throw another screw in there. And now this outer disc can't spin on this one. So now you can set this aside to dry, or you can go ahead and turn it off, face it off. So I've already got another one here prepared and the glue's dry. And I'll remove these, take it apart, remove these screws. I did this one a little differently. Doesn't really matter. But actually, if you got long screws like this, it makes more sense to put them in like this one from the other side, but whatever. Then we'll mount that up on the chuck. Oh boy, that's crooked as hell. What's going on here? Aha. fan your jaws out. Okay. Check your clearance, of course. Get your dust mask on. Your eye protection. Where is my eye protection? Good question. Where the heck my glasses are. Oh, grab another pair. Okay, so round this up. Now I'm just using a bowl gouge to round it over. sneak around the back, clean up that back plate. More, a little more. Okay, so. A little. Touch up them edges. So now what we want to do, we need to get a line around here so that we know where to lay out to drill our bolt holes. Put that in about a half, 3/4, 5/8 of an inch in from the edge. Not running too flat there. Do a little thin parting tool. Got a groove. So. We got to get lines layout. So we'll drop this down to center. Oh, we already got a center line there. Anyway, get this on center and mark across. And then we got to go 90 degrees. Take a square, put it on your tool rest. Get a mark there. And spin her around. This is fairly critical that you get this thing laid out right. And then what you need to do is put an index mark on the two plates. So that the holes will all line up after you drill them. So I just take a little saw and rock it place. Doesn't matter where it goes. And then take it over to the drill press. Drill a hole on each one of these spots, all the way through both plates. Just a pilot hole.
Ralph, got a
Yeah.
question for you. Do you mark a guide for?
You got to speak
where-
up, Dave. My computer's screwed up. I can't even hear you.
Okay, do you mark a guide to remount it to the chuck so that it's
I did not.
Oh, okay.
Okay. In theory, I found it usually mounting on the mortise, it usually comes in pretty true. You know, this is a better system to do on a faceplate or a threaded thing. I thought I'd try it this way and see how it worked out. So, let me drill these holes. So now we've got those drilled through. We'll take this outer plate off. Actually, what we're going to do, I can put a pilot through there. Now I'm going to drill the right size hole. And you can do this two ways. You can just drill a hole and use a bolt with just use a bolt with a wing nut on the back side, or you can use a threaded insert that actually, I don't know if you can see that. It's a threaded insert, female thread plate for your bolt. And it has a big coarse thread to screw into the actual wood. I got them online. They were, I don't know, 10, 12 bucks, maybe a little bit more for 40 or something of them. So, got to drill the right size hole for that though, which I determined through careful measurement and trial and error experiment. For that particular one, needs to be 21/64 drill. So we'll go ahead and drill all the way through all 4 holes with that proper size drill bit. Try and take the camera over a little bit where you can see maybe drilling those holes. Tell me what you see.
I see the deck of your drill press.
Yeah, that might work. A couple of those pilots didn't go quite deep enough. So I'm gonna hit them with a hand drill quick. So pull this apart. And these guys here come with an Allen wrench. And you just thread them in. Try and get them straight. Be a lot easier with a T-handle wrench. And actually, before you try and screw them in, it might be a little easier if you just take a little chamfer bit and just touch the edge of the hole to get the burrs out from drilling through. Make them seat up a little better, easier. Of course, if I had a driver bit to go on the drill, it'd be a whole lot easier, but I don't. Of course, I could use a wrench to get a little more leverage. Makes it a lot easier. Okay, so. Okay, so. Clean these holes up a little bit. Well, let's see what happens. So what you can do is, depending on what you're going to use this for, if you're going to use it for doing spheres, you want to do a little hollow here. If you're just going to use it for doing bottom of bowls, you can just leave it flat. If you're going to mount a bowl in it upside down, you can just leave the darn thing flat. You don't have to bother with it, but whatever you want to do. So let's see if this lines up properly. So we'll make a little dish in there just for fun. What we might do is now what I also wanted to mention, if you're going to dish this out and you use the faceplate screwed onto the back, you got to make sure that the screws, that you don't get into the screws when you're dishing this out. Drop my tool rest in here. So let's see what happens here. So we've got our index mark up here. So then you need to, for whatever you're going to do with this front plate, if you're going to do spheres or if you're going to do bowls, obviously you need to cut the proper size hole in there. So For this one, I'm just going to use the same Forstner bit that I use for the recess in the back for the mortise, and then, you know, depending on the size that you're going to use, you know, you can make different plates. Obviously, we're going to slow this down and drill that hole. About 250, 260, good. If your lathe doesn't go that slow, then you just have to deal with it. Now, here's the trick part. See how bad I screwed up. I'm going to flip that plate around and dish out the inside of it. So may not work. Got to be pretty accurate with these holes. I got them off a little bit, a couple of them. Okay. Just a hair off. So that is not going to work because it's not quite perfect. So, but that's easy enough to fix.
Your indexing isn't lined up. You do that intentionally?
Huh?
Your indexing line wasn't lined up. Did you do that on purpose?
You're talking about up here.
Yeah.
Well, when you rotate it 180 degrees, it ain't going to work. It ain't going to line up.
Ah,
So, this happened before. So, that's a problem for you to work on. All right, where's my chuck key? Oh, there it is. So just pop this off. With these small ones like this, it's easy. Just stick this on here. And depending on how much you want to dish it out, put a little spacer behind it so that it runs true, of course. But I'm just going to take a little bit off. So I can take it off like that. Just don't run into your jaws. Now this is running a little out of whack. So possibly what I should have done, I did it with the first one and I skipped a step. But what you could do on this first section, as you can see, it's, I'm not sure why. You can see that the pencil's not hitting all the way around. So it's got a little bit of run out like that. You could face it off. So now it should run true.
Ralph,
Yeah,
before you take it out of the chuck, index it to the chuck so that each time you put it back in, it's the same.
yeah, that would be a good idea. Mark your number one jaw on the back plate.
Yes, sir.
So now it's pretty much hitting, maybe a hair more. So now you're getting a pencil mark all the way around. You guys can see that. It's kind of light.
Ralph? Ralph?
Yeah.
It may be a good idea to do the pencil marks or grooves or whatever to help center the bowl when you put them in. That's a good
Yes,
idea.
that's what I did on the other one. I put lines on pencil lines to give you an index to help you center the bowl. And of course, when you're doing these, it's any type of, when you're redoing the bottom of a bowl, it's always a good idea to leave a center mark in your tenon or your mortise so that you've got something to line the tailstock up and push it up centered. You know, so let's see, just for fun, I'll take this off and so number one is marked. Now what you can also do, depending on what you're trying to hold, is you can take some of the, see if I can grab a piece of it. Shelf liner. Okay. They also sell this at the woodworking places as router mat for about 10 times the price. So that, you know, you put this on the table and put something on it and run your router around it, it won't slip. But this is actually shelf liner from Home Depot or Bed Bath and Beyond or whatever, you know, at a considerably less price. And for that, it grips the stuff, it cushions it, doesn't let it slip. So, you know, you can put some of that here, and in here in the end recess. I saw one video where the guy uses the clear vinyl tubing and splits it. You know, like we were talking about the other day, Dave Piper, with put it on your chuck jaws to cushion stuff. You take the clear vinyl and split it, put it over your jaws to protect your workpiece. But don't spin it too fast and don't take too heavy a cut because you don't have a super grip on it. You know, in that case. But so that's kind of it for that chuck. Let me see. Just in as an experiment. See what happens when I put a tool to one of these billiard balls. I have no idea what kind of plastic this thing's made of. I've heard some of them are turned pretty well and some of them don't turn very well at all. So I'll be interested to see what this actually does. So let me even this up a little bit. All right. Well, just for fun, for about 2 seconds, let's see what happens. Well, turns like a plastic pen blank. Looks like the color may be through and through. So I'll have to experiment more with this. So I guess that concludes this part of this demonstration for this year. So I'll send some links to videos on different people making their version of this. And as we discussed at the last workshop, there's a couple of companies making these, you know, so you can do what I did here for, you know, $10 worth of parts and a little bit of time, or you can send Ron Brown or somebody else $200 or $300 to do the same thing for you. So I guess that wraps that up. So anybody got questions?
I looked up Ron Brown. And he's asking 159. He includes a chuck, but still, that's a lot of money versus what you spent.
159 for the cheap one.
The 12-inch.
Okay.
Yeah, the cheap one, and it includes a chuck, but you know, it depends on what type it is. But anyway, it's still cheaper, you know, 159.
Yeah, and then they go up from there.
Oh yeah, I noticed he also had some spacers he put in there too.
Spacers.
Yeah. I don't know what that was, unless it's conforms more to the bowl. I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, the spacer's like another donut inside the donut, you know?
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, there's all kinds of things. And, the thing about this is, once you make the base, the outer plate, of course, is all depending on what you want to do with it. You can do, for the way I've got this one set up with this smaller hole, for doing smaller diameter spheres, you could also take a piece of wood, turn a somewhat of a sphere on the end of it and have it sticking out, and you can offset this thing and do all kinds of crazy eccentric turning. That's the idea behind this other one made out of a compression fitting, which I'm going to do probably next. The guy used it. You can do the spheres. They use these for doing the Chinese balls. And the one video I saw, can't remember the guy's name now. He uses one made out of a compression fitting to do eccentric turnings, like bottle stoppers. So he mounts his workpiece in there and then kicks it off center so that it's out here swinging around in outer space. And, you're getting interrupted cuts, but you can make some really interesting pieces like that.
Think about, Ralph, if you left that ball in there and drilled a hole in the center and mounted a threaded rod and epoxied it in there, that would be your chuck for your eccentric bottle stops and stuff.
Exactly. That's exactly what he does. Okay, that's one way to do it. The other way to do off axis, there's off axis, there's eccentric, there's several ways to do it. Multi-axis, which I did some years back with those 3-sided and 4-sided goblets, twisted goblets, which if anybody's interested in the future, I guess some of the newer people might. I can redo that one sometime down the road. I'd have to give it a shot to see if I remember how to do it. But, there's also the joiner chuck, which I know Jim Wheeler uses to make his pendants. I bought one at the symposium, at one of the symposiums. I think it was, I think it may have been the Atlanta symposium in 2000, I believe it was 16, wasn't it, Dave?
Yeah, for Moose Niles.
Yeah, from Ruth Niles.
Yeah.
This is for doing, I guess you'd call it off-center multi-axis turning. This one came with a number 2 tapered mandrel which is also you use for bottle stops, doing straight bottle stops. They screw right on there. It's a 3/8/16 thread. And then this has a plate, which you can see all those different holes in the center. So, you know, you can center this. And then it has an outer plate, which screws onto this for these through this outer ring. And then depending on what you're doing, you can rotate this. You can take this back plate and put it in a different hole to where it's off center. So now it's just, you know, swinging around like that. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff you can do with it. Just, you know, probably thousands of different combinations of ways to do it. And, you know, it's funny, like I said, I bought this thing in 2016 and I only played with it for about 20 minutes one time about 6 months ago. So something, you know, one of those things. Have to get it out and give it a shot. You know, there's just so many different ways to do it. What kind of bugs me, you know, I've seen these Chinese balls, but there's almost no videos. I have not been able to find an actual video of anybody showing the process of making one. Let me see if I can bring one up on my phone here of one. There's a guy, I think he's over in the Ukraine, and he got me interested in it again, something I've always wanted to do. I don't know if you guys can see this or not. Too much glare? Okay, so what he's got there is he's got a star, a spiked star inside of a ball. Okay, and that's all what he did. It looks like he laminated a couple different colors of wood together and turned a sphere and then mounted it in either one of these chucks or the other chuck made out of the compression fitting. And it's quite a process. And like I said, I have not been able to find any YouTube on somebody actually really doing the process. I've seen, you know, YouTube videos of finished product, but not the actual process. Not sure why. I guess maybe they want to keep it a secret on how they do it. And there's a special set of tools made to do that. Craft Supply sells them, Packard sells them, but it's like $150 for the tools. And from what I've read in another website, the one tool isn't worth a damn. So it's just hard to say. So I guess we'll see what 2021 brings as far as demonstrations. I know for our regular meeting in January, I think I mentioned it before that Igor Kotler is going to do a 4-note train whistle for the demo. And then Mike Chrysler, who's dropped off, it looks like, as we're going to do a bowl coring demo from his shop for February. And after that, I don't know what's going to happen. So I guess that's pretty much it. Anybody got anything else?
Hey, Ralph.
Hey.
Look at my shirt that I got.
What year is that?
2013 in Tampa.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I worked it.
Oh, good. Oh, yeah, I recall you were working there. That's right. Yeah, it'd be nice when they bring them back to South.
Yeah, it would be nice. I'll work it again.
Next year's, I believe, Kansas City.
No, Omaha, Nebraska.
Oh, that's right. It is Omaha. That's right. So I kind of looked at that. Well, of course, that's if they even have it.
Right.
You know, they're planning for it. And I guess we'll see what happens.
Well, they're also planning to have part of it virtual as well because they got such a big response.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, that's a little bit of a drive.
Hey, you can also see Warren Buffett.
Okay, well, maybe I could get him to give me some money.
Ralph, I have a question.
Yes.
I was out of the room when you did the inserts in the base plate,
Talk
brass,
loud, please.
those brass inserts in the base plate. Where do you get those?
Amazon. Actually, they're steel. I'll send you a link to
Oh,
where I
okay.
got them from. They do make brass ones also, but they're a lot
All right.
more money.
Yeah. Thank you.
There's several different types. So I'll send you some links on those. When I
Okay.
send out information on this whole thing for today, I'll send out some links with it.
Ralph, when you do the link, send out the size drill that you used. Was it 11/64 or something, or 21/64?
21/64, yeah.
Yeah.
Now that also, you know, that drill bit size, depending on what kind of wood you're using, may
Yes.
be different. You know, if you were using something really hard, you might have to go a 64th bigger.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, they make different kinds of inserts, you know, for different, you know, they make some that are supposed to go into plastic. There's some that I guess you heat them up and mash them in. You know, there's all different kinds of ways to do it and all different prices and different places to get them. You know, when you start getting them from MSC or McMaster Card, then they get expensive. But obviously, I would think the quality is a little bit better. But for this, you know, at first I was going to get brass ones, and I'm thinking, well, you know, and then I was thinking, oh, well, I get stainless steel ones. They won't rust. Well, I'm thinking, well, you know what? They're 10 times as expensive, and sitting in my shop, they're not going to rust anyway. So I just went with the econo route.
Well, that, and if you need another one, you make a new one.
Pardon?
If you need another one, you make a new one for the difference in
That's
cost.
true. That's true. Or pull this out and put a new insert in.
Yeah.
I got a whole box of them.
Hmm.
So, you know, you can make a bunch of different ones, or if somebody wants to make this, they can have a couple of these inserts.
Well, I've got some brass ones if people need those as well.
You know, Ozzy showed some the last time for 3/8/16 for doing bottle stoppers. You know, I was telling Paula she was having trouble threading some of the wood. She was making bottle stoppers, and I told her, I said, some wood does not take a thread worth a darn. So you've got to use an insert. You know, glue an insert in there, epoxy an insert in. You know, for a bottle stopper, you would want a brass insert. You wouldn't want to use a crappy old steel one. But, you know, and then I was thinking about it. You know, Ozzy said he didn't have any real trouble tapping the resin. Have you done any tapping of any resin, Dave Piper?
Yeah, yeah, I haven't had any trouble with it.
Okay, so it'll run a thread in there pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, because you know I was thinking if you were, you know, when you were casting the thing, if you were to put an insert in the bottom to start with and cast the insert right on in there, but probably not necessary.
No.
So,
As a matter of fact, that aluminite that Ozzy uses, the blank he gave me, I used that, taped it for a bottle stopper, worked fine. That aluminite works pretty good.
yeah. You saw that, I think that link sent that he sent me from the guy down in the Keys that sells all that stuff, right?
Yeah, Braxton. He's yeah, Divine Islands. I met
Right.
him. Yeah, I met him years ago
Oh, did
at
you?
Caster's demo, and he's got a shop down there now too. He does all kind of
Huh.
casting. He started off doing flies.
Hmm.
You know, because he lives in the Keys, so you know, fly fisherman, and he did a lot of pen blanks with fishing flies in it. Flies.
Okay.
Yeah, he's really expanded.
You been down to his place?
No, I haven't been down there yet. Haven't been in the Keys for a while.
No, me neither. Not since I stopped working.
Hmm.
I used to
I do
work
have
down
some-
there occasionally.
Oh yeah, I do have something here I'd like to show. I've been going through. You know, I turned a lot of stuff at the beginning of this virus, and now I have to finish them. You know, but every once in a while I'm in the finishing, the sanding. I get tired of doing that, so I just grab a piece. So I found a piece of this. It's bloodwood that got from Mary Ann's tree a few years ago. And this is Liberon oil on it. I'll tell you, the finish is really nice. It just takes a little while, you know, to do it, because you really need to start off the first coat you put on. I haven't finished the bottom yet. You see, it takes a while to soak in. So you need about 3 coats till you see a shine. And after that, it's as much as you want to put on with a wet sanding in between. That's pretty much all that Pete uses on his wood. He doesn't use anything else. The reason I took off, went downstairs, I have bought one of those Ruth Niles jigs too at the same place you did. And I tried it on the Rose engine. And I thought I had the piece down there. I don't. I don't know what happened to it. But when you put a piece on there, if you remember the Rose engine, let's say you're doing a star pattern, you see the stars on the whole diameter of the piece you're working. But on this eccentric turning, it shows up an image of a star, and just exactly where you have your bolts, the heads of your bolts,
Right.
that's where the star pattern ends up. You know, because it's concentric. Once you set it to a certain, there's numbers on it, so you have to mess with the numbers, and you end up putting a pattern of whatever the Rose engine pattern is on those 4 spots. So it's kind of neat. But the only thing with that is once you're done, you've got something that's got a 3/8 diameter capped hole in it. So, you know, you're limited to what you do with it after that.
Well, if you were to put your piece on a glue block,
Yeah, after that, yeah.
you know, put it on a glue block and then mount the glue block on the bolt.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. Then and when you're done with that, they say you can make a box, small box, or other things.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different ways, you know, things you can do, experiment with. That it's
Yeah,
like
with the glue
endless.
block. That's a good idea. Put a waste block on a piece of wood, tap that, and put that on the jig.
And
That's
then,
good
you know, then part the thing off.
idea. Yeah, this is worth the price of admission.
There you go. So more stuff to experiment with.
Yep.
So anybody got anything else? Okay.
Thanks again, Ralph. That was a great demo.
Everybody got their dues paid?
Yep. Yep.
I know you do, Dave Piper.
Yeah, twice I thought.
Twice.
No. Yep.
Well, I sent it in the old fashioned way before I found out about Zelle, so I'm done.
Yeah, well, I got to thinking about that the other day. I was going to actually, instead of sending it, I was just going to take a check over and deposit it in the bank. And I said, well, what the heck am I going to do that for? I can just make a few. I went on my bank website and went to their Zelle thing and, signed up for it. Didn't take any time at all. And then the other day I said, well, here, let me just do this. And I went back on there and it's boom, 5 seconds later, Dave's got the money over there and putting it in the Guild bank account.
Yeah.
So really works pretty cool.
Yeah, that's how he paid the guy that does our website.
Right. Yeah, I paid him with that. So I think we're, onto something good here.
I was just thinking there may still be some handouts or holdouts. I didn't mean handouts, excuse me. Holdouts that want to pay cash. I wonder if you just give them a deposit slip and say, here, go to the bank. That may change their tune. There's always that alternative too, is get a deposit slip and take it to the BB&T.
That's a thought.
Those that definitely want to pay cash.
Well, yeah, we know there's a few.
Yeah, there's a few.
So
Yep.
That's something to think about.
Well, gentlemen, have a wonderful Merry Christmas, happy, healthy New Year. I've got to sign off, but you guys take it easy and be safe. And Ralph, thank you very much. Wonderful workshop.
Well, thank
Yes.
you. You guys are welcome.
Bye-bye.
So, oh, geez. All right. So I guess if we're done here, we'll see you all next year.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Thank you, Daniel. You too, and Merry Christmas to everybody. And don't go out drunk driving on New Year's.
It's
You get an
amateur
extra
night.
hour. Our magnanimous mayor has given us an extra hour to go out and cause trouble on Christmas and New Year's. He rolled the curfew back an hour.
Good, I can go to sleep at 10 instead of 9.
Uh-huh.
I can go to sleep at 10 instead of 9 on New Year's Eve.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
All right, guys, we'll see y'all. I'm going to shut this thing down.
Merry Christmas, folks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.